Hey YouTube, just wanted to come at you with another video today, offer my thoughts on some Amouage fragrances that I've recently sampled. This is a house that I had no prior experience with. I don't think I had smelled any of their fragrances up to the point that I bought about 5 samples from Lucky Scent. And so just to go over some of those samples here real quick, tell you what I got. This is Honor Man. This is Epic Man. This is Gold Man. This is Interlude Man. And this is Jubilation 25. There's a reason this bottle looks different. We'll get into that later in the video. Now, I want you to take these opinions more or less with a grain of salt at this point, because I don't think you can consider these much more than a first impression. Don't get me wrong. A number of these have actually worn and used the majority of the vial. So I have a decent opinion on them, but given that I haven't worn them several times, to really get a feel for the fragrances, like I said, more or less a first impression. Don't base your decision for buying these fragrances on what I'm about to say. But hopefully this will give you a little bit better idea as to whether or not any of these are fragrances that you want to look into a little more, get a sample of, and maybe pick up a bottle of at some point. So go ahead and start with Honor Man. And if you can see right there, I've used the majority of the sample of Honor Man. Notice it's most of the way gone. Honor Man, pretty nice stuff. Really peppery, and that's mostly what I get out of this. I don't get a lot of anything other than pink pepper. And for those of you who have smelled Chanel's Edition Blanche, Allure Edition Blanche, to me that gets really peppery sometimes, and it's a pink pepper. And if you've smelled that, if you've experienced the really peppery side of Blanche, that's what this reminds me of. They smell very similar in that regard. The difference is the Blanche gives me some other stuff as well. It gives me the sweet lemons at the open, and so I mean it's not just pepper going on. And like I said, I mean I haven't worn this enough to really get a feel for some of the other aspects of the fragrance. I mostly just got pepper, and there are other things in it. If I had more of a sample and I wore it more, then I might pick up some of the other things. But this was mostly a pepper bomb to me, and Blanche already does this for me. So unless I am able to get some more wearings, get another sample, or somehow find some and sample it a little bit more to see what else is going on in the fragrance, I don't know that I'll be picking this up anytime soon. Blanche already does this for me. But Honor Man, if you like peppery fragrances, give this a shot. Next, Gold Man. Gold Man, this one doesn't seem to be very well liked. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people that do like it. To me, this is a very powdery fragrance. Kind of comes across kind of baby powdery. And honestly, when I first sampled it, just on my arm, just putting it on my arm or my wrist or wherever, I didn't care for it a lot because it just smelled like powder. It smelled like baby powder or something like that. And I don't know why anybody would want to go out and spend $200 or more on a bottle of something that smelled like that. Now I did wear this just this last Sunday to church, and I actually got a good wearing out of it. That bottle, this vial is almost completely empty. And you know what? I liked it. I actually thought it was kind of nice. Very powdery, kind of baby powdery. It kind of comes across to me like a dated classic man's scent. I thought of Great Jones by Bond Number 9. Now I don't know that I have any Great Jones here right now. I've tried Great Jones, and I don't have them side by side to really see how similar they are. But that's kind of what I thought of. That doesn't mean they smell alike, but it's powdery. It's kind of a classic dated man scent. But overall, it was nice. It was pleasant. It wasn't bad to wear. The dry down, however, I put some on my wrist, and I did not refresh that. I refreshed what was on my neck, later in the day, and but I didn't refresh what was on my wrist. And by the point that my wrist dried down, it was a little funky. I'm going to be honest. I'm guessing that's an animalic note that's in here, civet, something to that effect. I think there's civet in here. And so it was kind of funky. Think about like a wild animal taking a pee on your wrist. I'm exaggerating, but that was not a pleasant aspect of the fragrance by any means. But the civet in this is not doesn't seem to be as strong as the civet in leather oud. So if you've smelled leather oud and it was really off-putting to you because of the civet, it's not quite as strong in this. I don't feel like it's as bad. So overall, not a bad fragrance. Like I said, it was pleasant. I enjoyed wearing it. Not a huge fan of the dry down. That's Goldman. Then the next one, this is Interlude Man. I don't know, there's still a good chunk of this sample left, actually. Now, I put some of this on, and I got a little bit of a wearing out of it. And my wife put some on, and got a little bit of a wearing out of it as well. And I know some of you are going to think that's nuts, that this is a super masculine fragrance, and, you know, what's my wife doing wearing this? Honestly, it didn't come across super masculine on her. It was fine. What I get out of this is a candy sweetness and ash. I mean, think about taking something really candy sweet, cotton candy. You've got some cotton candy from the fair or wherever, and you just rolled it in ash. You know, now you've got some ash all over it. This is candy sweet with ash. To me, I'm oversimplifying. Like I said, I haven't worn it enough to really get or appreciate some of the other aspects of the fragrance. And so, once again, take this with a grain of salt. I actually kind of like the scent. I know that description doesn't sound super pleasant, but it's not bad. I mean, I actually kind of like it. Not something, though, that I'm looking to pick up a bottle of anytime soon. Then, next is Epic Man. Now, this stuff's kind of interesting. There you go. You can see I've worn most of this sample. And this one, you know what? When I first put it on my arm and had it on for a little bit, I didn't like it very much, and I wasn't going to really give it much of a chance, which is not fair. And it actually kind of reminded me of M7. Now, it doesn't smell like M7. I put this on one arm, and I put M7 on the other arm, and so I had them side by side, and I was able to compare and contrast, and they're not the same. But it makes me think of M7, and the reason why it makes me think of M7, I think the main reason is because I get a cherry accord in this. Kind of a medicinal, maybe not quite medicinal cherry accord, but kind of a cherry accord that makes me think of M7. Now, I finally just decided, to give this a halfway decent shot. I put a big portion of this vial on the other night, and I wore it for a little while. And actually, it's pretty nice stuff. It's decent stuff. It really is. Very dark, woody, incensey. There's oud in it. There is oud in it. I don't always get a strong oud out of it, but there's oud in this. I get a cherry accord. It's dark. It's woody. This is not bad stuff, actually. Epic Man. So if that sounds like it's up your alley, and a cherry accord similar to what I think of when I think of M7 doesn't turn you off to a fragrance, check this stuff out. It's Epic Man. And last but not least, Jubilation 25. This is a different bottle because my wife and I blew through the original sample from Lucky Scent and decided we wanted to get some more wearings out of this to decide whether or not we wanted some. And so we ended up picking this up from the Perfumed Court, and we got more wearings out of it. And yeah, we pulled the trigger. We bought a bottle of this. It's supposed to come tomorrow. Picked it up from New York. This is incense. This is blackberry. There's something in there that's toning down the blackberry sweetness. Thing about blackberry, yes, it's fruity, but it's not a really fresh, uplifting fruitiness. It's more of a darker fruitiness, and but it's pretty sweet. And there's something in there that's toning that sweetness down a bit. There's something in there that's giving a little bit of bitterness. I don't know if it's herbs. I don't know if it's the herbaceousness of the fragrance, because I think there is a bay leaf note in here. I don't know if it's the myrrh. Myrrh can be bitter or myrrh can be sweet. I think this actually has both in it. A Papanax is a sweet myrrh, and just myrrh in general is bitter. And so I don't know if it's myrrh that's toning down the sweetness a bit. I don't know if it's the herbaceousness of the fragrance that's toning it down a bit. Doesn't matter. Regardless of what's actually taking that sweetness down, I think that may actually make this a little more versatile than if that wasn't there. Because if it was just, you know, full blown sweet with incense, I mean, that would be a much darker, sweeter fragrance, and maybe a little less versatile, maybe less opportunity to wear that throughout the year. So anyway, my wife and I, out of all of these samples, we bought some of this Jubilation 25. But you know, if any of these kind of sparked your interest, check them out. This was really my first real exposure to incense fragrances. I don't know that I'd really smelled anything up to this point that had you know, a focus or an emphasis on incense. And yeah, I mean, a number of these fragrances enjoyable, and you know, good job, Amouage. Let me know what you think about these in the comments below, and thanks for tuning in.